Welcome to the Energy and Hours podcast, formerly called the Grow Like a Mother podcast. I'm your host, Jill Wright, author of Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and creator of the Time Magic Seasonal Planner. On this podcast, we talk about time and energy management tips that we can use to flow through our day in a way that feels more aligned. We focus a lot on how to use cyclical energy, seasonal cycles. We talk about productivity. We talk about self-care. We talk about rest. It all comes together in what I like to say is time magic. And if you tune into these episodes week after week, you're going to get a half an hour punch of tools, tips, and strategy advice for you to go and implement right away in your day to make your life feel a little bit more like you and a little bit less stressful. I didn't set out to write a planner. I didn't set out to be a time management expert. I fell into this role and I thought I would take today's episode as an opportunity to share with you a little bit of the backstory, especially if you're new to my world, to help you understand how I fell into this work, why it matters so much to me, and how I'm qualified to do it. Why am I actually qualified to sit here and tell you about time management and energy management? So I have always been a very how am I going to put this? I have been a very curious and ambitious person. I read self-help books, in the 90s and early 2000s before they were popular. And I even read productivity books and books about habits and all of these things. It's always piqued my interest. I've been someone who wants to continually improve and get better and grow. Growth is something that's always been really important to me. That's a really good way to put it. And so, um, throughout my life, I have had this craving to learn, to dive deeper, to become more efficient, or find the next tool that's going to work for me, or really tweak things so that life can be easier and better. I think that's what we're all looking for. At least I know that's what I'm looking for, and I still look for it. But I have always been this way, always and forever. And it hasn't always been easy. It's been a struggle at times, a struggle with anxiety, always have. That's actually how my book came about. I always wanted to be an author, but the book was not written in the typical way that you would expect. I actually, through my university years, just had a Word doc on my computer where I would note down the things I was learning and the tools that I was receiving through books or through therapy or through whatever. Write down the tools because I recognized, and I didn't have the words for it then, but I recognized that my brain changed when I was in an episode of overwhelm or anxiety, and I couldn't remember my tools. Now I know that the part of your brain that has that information literally shuts off when you're in fight or flight, and your nervous system is all out of whack. You can't access the information. That's a scientific fact. I didn't know it then. I just knew that I would learn all these tools and then have all these big emotions and stressful things happen. I couldn't remember the tools, couldn't use them. So I just started a Word doc to keep them all there so that I could refer to it when I was in a moment of like panic and overwhelm and needing a tool. And that's how the book came about. It just got bigger and bigger, and I kept adding to this Word document. And all of a sudden, boom, I have this book. And I decided with my organizing systems brain that I could break down all these tools into tools to support people in four different areas of their life, in their happiness, in their health, in their wealth, which is really abundance because I'm not a financial person, and with their wisdom. And so I just fell into the book as well. My whole career has been very much not realizing I'm doing the pre-work as I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. It's the thing people want, and I have it already done, which is kind of cool. But frustrating when I'm doing things at the time and not realizing why I'm doing them. I did a lot of training to be a coach. I'm not a coach. I never got certified as a coach. I don't work in a coaching capacity or call myself a coach, but a lot of the tools I learned as I was going through this coaching program really helped me and really helped my clients. They helped me get to a place where I'm able to take on the work of helping other people, right? How I fell into the business because I had a corporate career. I was in hotels and hospitality for many years. decided after I had my second child that I wanted to not go back downtown and work long days and weekends and evenings. And so I wanted to put my entrepreneurship and business skills to use. And I decided to open up a little store in my hometown, 5 minute walk from my front door, so that it would be a less stressful work situation and I would have more balance when I had the kids and they were small. And so it was a consignment store. We resold women's clothing. We did a lot of stuff for the community, food drives, and giving back. And I hosted a little community corner in the back of the store where I showcased local vendors. And it was fantastic. People would come in and just chit chat and share news and get connected. And the only problem was that I opened in April of 2020, right after the pandemic was announced, when we didn't know if we could touch people, breathe air, change rooms were not allowed. Like it was a whole bad timing for this little project of mine. And at the same time, I had to hire staff to help me man the business because my son got diagnosed with autism and there was so many appointments that now I had to take him to. I couldn't be at the store. I couldn't do the work myself. And so the expense of having staff members was very prohibitive, even if we could open, which is, I don't know if you remember, like the rolling, okay, you can be open. Oh no, now you have to be closed for 2 weeks and we're flattening the curve and all of this stuff. We didn't know what was up and what was down. So managing a business and managing this new diagnosis, I didn't have daycare because the daycares were all shut down. And if they were open, your kid had to be like sniffle free for 10 days or something. It was wild. So what I needed a way to make it work. I didn't have a job anymore. I had a business that I wanted to succeed. And I also had a family that I wanted to be present for, and they had needs too. And I always have prioritized my own growth and my own time. And so all of these competing interests needed to be represented on my calendar and in my life. And at the time, that wasn't happening. And I was really bad postpartum depressive and couldn't figure out how to make it work. So I did what my default is and I went and I learned and I did the research and I took the programs and I did the therapies and I did all the things. And I amassed again a toolbox. And this time, instead of tools to help me in my anxiety moments, this toolbox was how to help me manage my time as a working mom. I learned a lot of things and they didn't all fit within my reality. So I got good at tweaking. I got good at taking the general gist of what the idea was, what the tool was supposed to do, and tweaking it and formatting it in a way that worked for me in my life as a working mom who got up at, 5 in the morning with babies and had a job and was a solo at home because my husband at the time worked a lot and wasn't present. And it was just by sheer grit, I think, that I ended up being able to make it work. The business didn't work, obviously, but it shifted into my business now because I realized what I wanted to do was to connect with women and to help them. And I started this podcast. I'm in year 5 now, so I guess I started it in 2021 to share, like, here's what I'm doing. Here's what's working for me. Here's what I tweaked, and showcasing other women on the podcast and making connections and learning as I went. And it turned into, with all those sort of coaching skills that I picked up, it turned into me being able to support women one to one and in groups and doing workshops. And then I had a spiritual kind of awakening and learned a ton of tools about spirituality and energy management. And I'm able to weave those components in and really support people and support myself to feel regulated enough to be able to take on other people's stuff as well, so that I'm taking care of myself and showing up as the best version of me. Not every single day, obviously, but I can show up in ways that feel supportive to other people because I've been taking care of myself because I learned how to do that. And so the time management stuff just seemed to be what most people were having problems with. And I leaned in and I thought, okay, I have figured out how to manage my time. I can get a superhuman amount of work done and things accomplished in a normal day. And so why don't I share some of these ideas? And as I worked with people on their time management, I realized everyone is a little different. And certainly lots of people are different from me. What works for them is different than what works for me. Their preferred times of day to do certain tasks are different. Their energy levels are different. Their resources and support is different. And so I gathered information, as I do, And I used it to create a framework that would help me better help people. So I created this quiz to help people identify what their time management style is because I could clearly see like four different types of ways people manage their time and could identify with all of those ways. It's not something that you're born with and you always have type of archetype. It's like in this moment at home, how do you manage your time? And in, next moment, when you're at work, maybe how do you manage your time? And so knowing those details about people really helped me get quick results for them because I was able to say, okay, this is how you do it. These tools are going to work for you. Here's where we start, rather than just sort of giving them a whole bunch of tools that might work, that worked for me, but really tailoring it to them. And people started to see results, and then I started to get recommendations or referrals and do lots of speaking engagements and realize that this topic of like time management, burnout, productivity, it's all, we're all struggling with it. And every time I introduce myself and what I do at an event, it's like, wow, yeah, I wish I had had that when I was a young mom, or oh God, I could really use that, or my team really needs this, you know, they don't have these skills. And it's just so interesting that as I went through to try to help my own life, it ended up turning into something that can help so many others. And so my weekly planning framework has been the baseline of what supports me for so many years. I turned it into a physical product to be able to share with people because I believe so strongly that if we're going to accomplish the things we want to accomplish, we have to plan for it and we have to put things down in our calendars. And so there's a really specific way that I do that with really unique tools. And I created the planner based around that. And honestly, I ordered 25 copies when I first launched it in the fall. And I was like, I'd be super happy to sell 50, but I don't feel confident that 50 people are going to pay for the planner. So I'm going to order 25. I think I'm on my fifth reorder right now, and we've sold hundreds of copies, hundreds. And people are reordering it because by design, it's a seasonal 90-day planner. Um, and so you need another one when you finish it. And so it is a source of recurring revenue for me and recurring support for people that they can depend on and know that it makes a difference. And it's a system that people are writing to me and telling me how much they appreciate, which makes me feel so good. And something else that has shaped the way that I do time management and the way that I've built this tool and the way that I do my sessions is the neurodiversity lens. When my son got diagnosed, I dove deep, as I do, into the research and I tried to understand what it's like for him. And one of the things that I realized through working with my son and also working with all the women is that if you have a neurodiversity, you literally experience time differently. And I was like, that is insane. I cannot imagine. But let me try. Let me try to figure out what would be supportive if my brain worked in this way because I don't have a neurodivergence. I mean, I guess I do. I'm dyslexic, but I don't have ADHD. I don't have autism. I'm not on a spectrum of any kind that would really significantly impact the way that I experience time. And so learning about that and diving deep, it's like opened up a whole other Pandora's box. People are being diagnosed later in life because we know more. And people are self-identifying as like, yeah, these are my challenges. I wonder if I have ADHD and women specifically. And so a lot of my clients now are like, hey, I just got diagnosed with autism, or I just got diagnosed with ADHD, and or both, or this makes so much sense, but like, what do I do with this? And they really want to lean into it and honor it and figure out a way to use it as a superpower. And I have the tools because I've done the research and it's like, here, let me step in and help you. And again, it's one of those things that kind of fell in my lap and has now exploded because almost all of my clients now have ADHD or are looking for tools to support them through their really busy brain periods, right? Not everyone I work with has a neurodivergence, but the tools that help can also be really useful for people who are just overwhelmed and really busy and their brain is stuck in this fight or flight sense of overwhelm. So it's really cool to see how everything kind of came together. There is no school that you can go to learn time management. I wish there was. I wish they taught it in schools. In fact, I teach it in schools sometimes. So if you're a parent and you're like, hey, yeah, my kid, yeah, we can do that. We can help kids from a young age and imagine the gift that that is for them, right? I think it's just so cool to be able to become a quote expert in something just through lived experience and determination to learn. And I think that we are all capable of that. I mean, you probably can't teach yourself brain surgery, but if there's something you're interested in, I think that with the tools and the resources and the technology available to us, the world is your oyster. Um, I really love seeing people go after their dreams. I have an affirmation I say to myself every day is that the more that I follow my heart, my dreams, and my desires, the better my life becomes. And it is true. And every time I stop and remember that, I realize, wow, yeah, this isn't what my life path I thought would be. I didn't think I would end up here in the, especially in the way that it happened. There was a really tough period of time where it was like entrepreneurship, business is failing, marriage is failing, problems in the, with my kids are coming up and no support and all of this craziness in the collective with the pandemic. And my own mental health was really bad, my own physical health. I had some really severe allergies that took some time to diagnose, which caused like itching all over my body for day and night for months on end, and just so many different pieces of the puzzle that seemingly were stacked against me at the time, which have each contributed in a really significant way to where I'm at now. The resilience that I'm able to show up with, even though it's busy, even when it's hard, even when things come up, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I got my tools. And every single time I'm with someone, whether it's like just a co-working session in the Momentum membership, I just finished one, and in the last 5 minutes, I was able to help someone come to a breakthrough. And then she's like, oh my God, clarity, yes, I gotta go. I gotta work on this thing because now it's clicked. Or helping someone with a 20-minute check-in. What are your priorities for the week? Where are we going to fit those in your calendar? Like going through and being the presence for people, I think is a big part of the work that I didn't realize. And in order for me to be present and allow myself to have these ideas and suggestions that come through, they just come through. But in order to be in a state where I can receive those and pass them on, I need to be regulated. I need to be rested. So it's all part and parcel. It all comes together. Um, and it's just really neat. I just wanted to take some time today to talk it out, I guess, and to share with you, if you're new here, the story of how I came to be a time management expert and an energy management expert, and the lens through which I see this work, and the importance of it, because I think high achieving women are going to change the world. And I think that we need to give ourselves grace and honor that we do things in a different way, that we have different rhythms, that we have different cycles, that we have each our unique way of moving through the world. Yes, different from men, but also just different from each other. We're all unique and we need to tailor the way that we support ourselves. And so that's my lens. And if you're into that and you need some help, please reach out. I got a lot of things going on this year, which is fun. I've got the Momentum membership. I'm doing time tune-up still. The planner is flying off the shelves. So get yourself a copy of that if you don't have it and see what it's all about. Because it really makes a big difference for people. And I love hearing it and knowing that, yeah, this is something that really made a difference. So that is all. I'm off to write my next Substack newsletter. I have switched over from emailing through my email platform each week to writing a little Substack blog post newsletter and sending it still via email, but to the list via Substack. And that's been really fun because I love writing. I'm an author at heart, always wanted to be an author, am an author now. So Substack is where it's at. And I want to make sure that people can take in this information in whatever way makes sense to them. So auditory, visual, right? If you like reading things, if you like listening to things on the podcast. So off I go to sort of translate what I've just spewed out at you into a Substack post. And if you're not on Substack, go check it out. I'll be posting each week some interesting topics that will be um, related as well to what you hear on the podcast. And thank you for being here. This was maybe a long one. It doesn't tell me as I record what time period I'm at, but it feels like I gave a lot of words to you today. So thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being in the community and taking time and energy out of your day to support yourself and to learn more. So until next week, keep on growing like a mother.